Imagine locking eyes with a Neanderthal in the heart of Ice Age Europe. You're both armed, you with a spear made of sharpened flint, and him with raw muscle, thick bones, and instincts honed by generations of brutal survival. No backup, no tools, just you and him. Who walks away alive? We often think of ourselves as the dominant species, the apex predator that conquered the ancient world. But what if Neanderthals weren't the slow, dim-witted cavemen history once painted them as? What if you were the underdog in that fight? This isn't just a battle of brawn. It's a war of brains, endurance, and instinct. So in a one-on-one face-off, who really had the edge? You're standing in a forest. Not the kind you hike through on weekends, but a wild, unforgiving Ice Age wilderness. The wind bites. The trees creak like old bones. And somewhere nearby, something is watching you. Then he steps out from the brush, a Neanderthal. He's shorter than you, but stockier. His chest is broad, arms thick like tree trunks, and his face? It's powerful. A flat nose, heavy brow ridge, and eyes that scan you like a hungry predator. You grip your spear. He's already gripping his. Now pause that moment. Forget what you think you know about Neanderthals. They weren't dumb cavemen dragging clubs and grunting in caves. In fact, they had bigger brains than modern humans. Physically larger, at least. But brains aren't everything, right? Let's talk about bodies. A Neanderthal's body was like a tank, compact, incredibly muscular, with short limbs designed to preserve heat and generate raw power. Their grip strength may have been twice ours. Their bones? Dense and thick. Their chests? Barrel-shaped, perfect for high oxygen intake during intense exertion like hunting or hand-to-hand combat. If you're thinking UFC meets primal survival, you're not far off. In a one-on-one fistfight, a Neanderthal probably wins. Easily. But here's where it gets interesting. While Neanderthals were built for close combat and short bursts of energy, early Homo sapiens, people like you, were leaner, more wiry, and designed for endurance. Our ancestors didn't just chase prey. They ran it down over hours, even days, using persistence hunting to exhaust it. Their bodies were built to sweat, to cool down, to adapt and outlast. So in a sprint, you lose. But in a marathon, you might just win. So who's the apex predator? The explosive powerhouse who can crush bones with a swing, or the long game strategist who never stops moving? The real answer might not be so simple, because power alone doesn't win the ancient game of survival. There's another factor, and it's hidden deep inside your skull. It's not muscle that made humans the dominant species. It's something more subtle, something that doesn't show up in fossil records as easily: strategy. Early Homo sapiens were master thinkers, planners, and communicators. Our brains may have been slightly smaller than those of Neanderthals, but they were wired differently. More specialized for abstract thinking, symbolic language, and long-term cooperation. That changed everything. Imagine a Neanderthal hunting party, maybe 3 or 4 individuals moving through thick forest, relying on ambush and brute strength to take down prey. Now imagine a group of Homo sapiens. They don't just hunt. They plan, coordinate, use tools designed for specific kills, and even sketch out the strategy with carvings or symbols in the dirt. They use language to share tactics, warnings, and maybe even stories passed down through generations. That's not just survival, that's innovation. And this innovation gave birth to tools far more advanced than what Neanderthals typically used. While both species created spears, Homo sapiens refined them. We added spear throwers, creating projectiles that traveled farther and hit harder with less personal risk. We built traps, developed fishing techniques, and eventually mastered fire in ways that transformed our food and our safety. But communication didn't just shape how we hunted. It shaped how we connected. Homo sapiens formed larger, more interconnected tribes. We traded across great distances, shared resources, passed on knowledge. Neanderthals, in contrast, likely lived in smaller, more isolated groups. So when climate changed or resources ran low, we adapted faster because we had networks. They had silence. Still, don't mistake intelligence for superiority in every way. Neanderthals had their own versions of culture. They buried their dead. They crafted tools. There's even evidence they wore ornaments and used pigments, possibly for body decoration. But the difference lies in speed. Homo sapiens evolved, learned, and spread like wildfire. Neanderthals stayed local, until one day, they didn't stay at all. So now we add the second weapon to your survival kit, the brain, the ability to think ahead, communicate, collaborate. And while strength might win a battle, ideas win wars. So picture that standoff again. You, lean, fast, adaptable. Him, powerful, instinctive, unshakable. Who wins? Maybe you circle him, looking for an opening. You try to outpace, outthink, keep your distance. He doesn't play by those rules. He charges. Full commitment. And if he gets close, it's over. That's the terrifying part. Up close, you lose. But here's the trick. Our species didn't win by going head-to-head. We won by never playing the same game. Homo sapiens thrived because we rewrote the rules. We didn't just adapt to nature. We manipulated it. Built shelters with bones and hides. Crafted clothing that let us spread into harsher climates. We tamed fire not just to warm ourselves, but to cook, to harden tools, to scare predators. Our survival wasn't just physical, it was cultural. Every innovation built on the last, each generation smarter, faster, more equipped than the one before. And in the end, that's what pushed Neanderthals to extinction. Not a massive war, not some epic one-on-one fight, just slow, steady replacement. We moved into their territories, competed for the same resources, and outlasted them. Climate shifts hit them harder. Isolation hurt them deeper. And over time, they disappeared, though not entirely. Because here's the final twist. They're still with us. Genetic studies show that if you're not of purely African descent, you likely carry 1 to 2% Neanderthal DNA, which means that showdown in the forest. It is not just a battle between two different species. It is a fight between two parts of yourself, strength versus strategy, instinct versus imagination. So who was the real apex predator? The one who dominated with raw power, or the one who built a legacy that stretched across millennia? In truth, it was never about who could kill better. It was about who could survive smarter. And in that sense, Homo sapiens didn't just win. We became the future. In the end, the story of Neanderthals and Homo sapiens isn't just about who was stronger or smarter. It's about how we, as a species, became who we are, through struggle, adaptation, and maybe a little bit of luck. The Neanderthals weren't mindless brutes. They were survivors, artists, toolmakers, and perhaps even the first mirrors we ever had, forcing us to evolve in response. Their extinction wasn't just their end, it was our beginning. And maybe that's the real twist. Because in every one of us, there's still a piece of them. Their strength in our muscles, their instincts in our bones, their legacy in our DNA. So next time you think about the past, don't just imagine a world of primitive cavemen. Imagine a world where two intelligent species once walked side by side, and ask yourself, what made you the one that remained? If this story made you think differently about our ancient roots, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the prehistoric world. What do you think gave us the edge? Our brains, our teamwork, or something else entirely? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're curious what it would really feel like to live in their world, check out our other videos on Ice Age survival, ancient predators, and human evolution. Trust me, it only gets wilder from here.